Greg Heacock, followed by Rosario Perry. Got one here before you, Zena. Yes. Joanne Curtis, Zena Josephs, and Michael Toney. Mr. Heacock.
Dear City Council members, Santa Monica Mid-City neighbors, Board of Directors support item 5A and ask this evening that you support it too. You're being asked not to pull the plug on the life support of the residents of Village Trailer Park until you get a second opinion. In the worst case scenario, these elderly residents, many of whom have paid their life savings for a trailer for which there can be no adequate financial compensation, will be kicked out of their homes. Tonight, you are not being asked to decide whether they stay or go. You are merely being asked not to rush to judgment in a case for which the options have not been fully explored. Exploring those options and protecting the safety and well-being of the residents of at this time is the right step to take. Voting in favor of item 5A would be respecting the Landmark Commission's decision to research giving Village Trailer Park landmark status. Voting in favor of item 5A would honor the process Rod Gould, David Martin, and City Planning have engaged in with neighborhood leaders in discussing how areas should be developed. Voting in favor of item 5A would support the intention of the Luce to protect distinctive neighborhoods. As well, it would be consistent with the Wise Connections efforts to allow older adults to stay in their own homes as they age. Voting in favor of item 5A would even help Mark Lozado by keeping him from seeming like Mr. Potter, the villain and banker in the film It's a Wonderful Life, who was eager to remove people from their homes so that they might live their lives in Pottersville. In fact, in these hard financial times, as the holiday season comes upon us, the image of America as portrayed in It's a Wonderful Life seems more and more relevant. Though George Bailey's nightmare may have become our reality, every so often we get a chance to decide again whether the values of the past...
Thank you, Mr. Heacock. We have a question for you from Dr. Holbrook.
And thank you.
You mentioned other options and second opinions. Can you give me an example of other options we haven't considered, and who would give us a second opinion?
Well, one, the staff itself is exploring the area and the zoning. They've been meeting with neighborhood leaders to see what else might be going on in that area. What things could be community benefits in the area. One option could be, because we want to be a walkable city, a library, a public library for the people in the mid-city. We have a lot of affordable housing, but we have no library to walk to. So when we start looking at what we're going to build, we certainly, and there could be composting in that area. I know that people are interested in, and we talk all the time about community gardens. This is a perfect place for us to do a whole research in terms of, and have a resource center for the community gardens. That is largely what the Village Trailer Park seems to be about. There's no other agricultural area, no other canopy in this town that resembles that. And not to realize that. And as well for us in the mid-city, where the water garden has been cut off from us, where the Yahoo Center is basically cut off from us, this is our one opportunity, and your one opportunity, to provide us with a green space that allows us to cross over Colorado and actually experience something that's green and healthy for the rest of us. So we would want to explore those options.
But the option is really for us to buy it.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The option is for us to buy it.
That is an option.
Well,
that's
what you would do.
It's an option.
If the city owed it, that's some suggestions that you...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then to see, even in exploring that option, how much that might cost.
Okay, thank you.
I think those are the things. So I'm just suggesting that we don't rush into the designing angles of developers, but be touched by the better angles of our nature.
Mr. Heacock,
I encourage you
not another opportunity for you to begin your remarks again.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Rosario Perry. Nice try.
Thank you.
Did I use this? Is this available? I wanted to show a exhibit.
Sure.
Get some help from the city clerk.
Sorry. Okay, I hope you can see this. Thank you very much. I'm Rosario Perry. I'm here to also add my voice to the people to encourage the city to buy Village Trailer Park. Of course, the valuation of Village Trailer Park is very important. You don't want to pay, maybe you can't afford $30 million, but if it was only worth $8 million, then again, it's a different story. So there's like 60 people, 60 homes living at Village Trailer Park, and I think there's a lot of people in the city, as you hear, who are also encouraging to buy Village Trailer Park. So if the story is I can't afford it, then I think you owe these people, the people of our city, an honest appraisal of a valuation so that they can see why the park is worth so much and why we can't afford it. I mean, that's the transparency that we need. So what I did was I asked the city in the Freedom of Information Act, I said, please send me your report that you prepared, that you relied on to tell the city council the property's worth $30 million. And this is what I got back. And if you look at it, you can't figure it out. I finally figured it out. But basically, they've taken 3 properties, and this is it. I said, give me everything you have to justify your opinion, and this was it. They took 3 properties, and they figured out what the fair market value, I guess PSF is price per square foot, or I don't know, but that's probably what it is. And then they back it into Village Trailer Park. They say Village Trailer Park is 167,000 square feet. And then they come up and they multiply it and they get these numbers. Well, you would think if it's that important to you, which I'm sure it is, what its value is, if you buy it, you go through a condemnation action, you pay only fair market value. Remember, you're not required to convince the developer to sell you the property. You can prove what the value of the property is by showing fair market value. So if that's what it is, let's do it. I think you owe it to everyone to do a legitimate appraisal. Compare what is it about the airport property that means that it's comparable to the Village Trailer Park? Why do we take airport property and show it's worth 130, therefore Village Trailer Park's worth 130? I don't know. Nobody knows. So it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. Now, another issue that came up I think is very important. Why give the developer a bonus zoning? Why give him more than he deserves? I don't want you to hurt the guy because he's trying to close the park and evict 60 people, but I don't think you should help him. So what's the zoning? What's the legitimate zoning for that property? Well, for over 60 years, it's been residential. Right now, there's 109 spaces. That converts to about an R2 zone. Why not R2 zone and base the valuation on that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Excuse me, Joanne Curtis is next.
Hi, Joanne Curtis. I live in Sunset Park. In view of the unimaginable and inhumane consideration to allow the Village Trailer Park to be demolished and its residents relocated like pieces of furniture, no longer attractive or modern enough for our fancy new home, I'd like to read some lyrics from an old 70s song, because I'm an old 70s gal. How can people be so heartless? How can people be so cruel? Easy to be hard, easy to be cold. How can people have no feelings? How can they ignore their friends? Easy to be proud, easy to say no. Especially people who care about strangers, who care about evil and social injustice. Do you only care about the bleeding crowd? How about a needing friend? And the trailer park needs all of its friends. Think with your hearts and not with your pocketbooks. Thank you.